Now, folks, Emma Thompson, she's back. The dame who took a first-class flight from Los Angeles to London to join an Extinction Rebellion demo. Remember her? I guess we knew she's not exactly self-aware, but this morning the millionaire Hollywood actress with houses in Italy and, of course, North London is in the news again, telling the British government to stop its latest attempt to control our increasingly lawless borders. A nation that cannot control its borders is not a nation. Those were the words of former US President Ronald Reagan. Like Emma, Ronnie was pro-immigration. He welcomed legal new arrivals, but recognised that a nation-state must be able to control its affairs and, at a minimum, control who's coming and who's going. Any self-respecting nation can't be leakier than a sieve. That's why, folks, the British people who voted in election after election for mostly the whole time I've been on this planet, folks, they voted for politicians that talk a good game about lowering the numbers of those coming here. And it's a core concern for voters even now. But we're still constantly let down. In 2016, polls showed immigration, 2015 and 2016, immigration was by far the most important issue for voters, way above the NHS and with twice as many people worried about it as there were the economy. Open borders with the European Union have ended and concern has fallen, but we've got to do more to keep that the case. The message of taking back control rang true for many because we're a country that, for many of us, has felt lost to unaccountable, liberal, international elites who are steadily pushing Europe and the rest of the world toward a borderless future. Now, a laudable attempt to fulfil the Brexit pledge is the government's Rwanda policy. It's common to hear the plan dismissed as a wedge issue or as a meaningless ploy to give red meat to voters by Boris Johnson's government. It isn't, folks. It's a legitimate policy to address a very real concern. The government is on the side of the popular democratic will of the British people. The elites, of course, are against it. Prince Charles himself, every bishop in the House of Lords, billionaire business moguls, lovies like Dame Emma Thompson and Olivia Colman, who in a new letter today have urged Commonwealth leaders to stand against Britain's quote-unquote offensive scheme, you hear that word more and more, don't you, folks, to send migrants to Rwanda. In this letter, they claim the policy, and I quote again, tells us much about the British government's colonial and insulting view of Africa as a place that is no better than a dumping ground for things, in this case people, it considers a problem. Who the hell do they think they are, right? Are they inviting the people that are coming over from Calais into their millionaire mansions? I don't think so. Firstly, right, they've slandered Rwanda, one of the most advanced nations in Africa, by implying it's some kind of prison. And we know that it's primarily men coming over here in dinghies from France. I repeat, from France. The land of baguettes, the land of cheese, the land of wine. Not a war-torn nation without rights, protections and democracy. Another of the signatories said it's an insult to Africa and it shames Britain. How can it be an insult to Africa when a democratic government signs a paid agreement that's beneficial to both parties without coercion, without that watchword of the moment, colonialism? It doesn't shame Britain. I tell you what shames Britain. The lack of housing in our country, the lack of ability to access a GP or a dentist, the lack of places at our nation's schools, the lack of support for our veterans and inability to help those already here in places like this in the northeast, never mind in accepting all of the world's problems to come and make bed and board here. In 2016, during the Brexit debates, Emma Thompson described Britain as a tiny little cloud-bolted rainy corner of sort of Europe, a cake-filled, misery-laden, grey old island. Charming stuff, eh? The problems caused by mass migration don't impact celebrities like her, right? They don't care about us, they don't understand us, and they often don't care about the UK. But Boris, He needs to stand firm against people like her, against the cronies, against the bishops, against the European courts and the United Nations and their war of attrition against this policy. And ultimately, folks, stand up for the will of the British people.